Alright, hey guys, this is Kristen, and this is my, I believe, 6th video. I just got back from vacation last night, or yesterday, and I talked about, what you should do when you're on vacation, about having balance, treating yourself but not going overboard, and all that good stuff. I still did not weigh myself this week. I said that I was taking a break from the scale while on vacation, and I decided that I'm going to take a longer break from the scale because when you are trying to repair your metabolism, the scale's really not going to move at first. It actually might go up at first because you're resting more and you're taking in more calories. I've done that for 5 weeks now. I've rested. I've gotten my caloric intake up quite a bit. My carbohydrate intake up daily is in the 120s, I believe. So right now, I am just starting the process of building muscle, and that's what I want to talk about in this video, and I'm going to keep it quick and short, and I'm actually going to have my husband Derek talk to you about why it's important to build new muscle when especially trying to repair your metabolism. So today I had my first session. My husband trained me, and we did shoulders and chest, and it blew my mind. Like, he taught me all these different techniques and everything, and it's just so important that my main focus is building muscle, not the scale. So I'm not going to weigh myself because the scale could go up at first. But I do want to eventually drop body fat while I am building muscle in the process. So my diet has been great. I will say one thing before I bring my husband into this, that I would suggest that you count your macros, meaning you know what kind of calories you're taking in and you know the grams of carbohydrates, fats, and protein. I wouldn't say do it every day, but know where your caloric intake is. You should at least be around 1,200 and then working your way up. And make sure your carbohydrates are up there, not below 50. My carbs are around 120. Make sure protein is higher than the carbs and your fat is between 20 and 35 grams. So that's just quick. You can use apps on your phone like MyFitnessPal and stuff like that. So just be aware of your caloric intake. And now I'm going to let my husband take over and just really quickly explain to you why it's so important to build muscle and get in the gym and lift the weights and not focus on cardio when you're repairing a damaged metabolism and trying to lose weight in general. If you want to drop body fat and be a calorie burning machine, it's in the weights. So I'm going to hand it over to Derek.
As Kristen said, I've been trying to work with her for a couple of years because she does a lot of volume in the gym, and one of the things that we found, and this is not just my wife, but also a lot of people that are in the fitness community. There's so much time spent on volume of training. The irony is there's this philosophy that there's no such thing as overtraining, just undernourishment. And I believe 100%. But every single person that's in the fitness community that is trying to watch so their physique is undernourished in one way, shape, or form. So then you take this this stage of being undernourished, and you're going to add with that this high volume working out, and what ends up happening is that, as Kristen said, and as Kristen knows, it ends up damaging your metabolism. The irony is I could really give two shits about what I look like. Honestly, I'm a strength athlete. But in doing so, if anyone's looked at any pictures of me, I'm extremely lean. Well, why is that? And I learned by accident that when you train for building muscle and for strength, not just adding muscle, but when you train for absolute strength, what ends up happening is you feed yourself, you nourish yourself, kind of like a baby. You want to do as little as possible in the gym. I won't say as little as possible, but you got to keep the volume very, very low, and you're going to focus on technique, form, and muscular recruitment. So the bodybuilding mentality is to, for instance, when you're curling, when you're benching, is to focus on just one muscle, where the mentality that I have when I train is incorporate as much muscle as possible. That's the philosophy behind strongman training. And look at the end result. My body fat year-round is usually around 10%, and I weigh always over 300 pounds, and right now 320 pounds. It's my off-season. I'm training once or twice a week. And still, while training once or twice a week, I'm still maintaining a huge amount of muscle mass, and I have a very low body fat, still around single digits, 9 to 11%, somewhere thereabouts. So the goal with like, for instance, Chris's training today was, normally I'd have clients do chest and back together. Kristen prefers to do chest and shoulders together because she's got fairly weak shoulders. It's part she wants to bring up, so we do chest afterwards. And we've actually found is, she'll do 4 sets of a press, 4 sets of lateral, and then she'll do 6 sets total for her chest, and that's it. the training's about 45 minutes, but it stimulates muscle growth. The whole idea is we want to just do as little as necessary to make the body want to repair the muscle tissue stronger and bigger. And it's funny because you look at strongman athletes, strength athletes, particularly strongmen, you're seeing this new generation, this new breed of guys that are thinner and more muscular and more athletic, because we're always trying to keep our muscle mass and our general mass as high as possible. And that's the end result of exactly repairing the metabolism. It's the same philosophy. We want to train and stimulate the muscle growth, stimulate the muscle with as little volume as possible, because anything over that is going to take the muscle to a whole nother level where now it's going to take farther for it to get to the point where the muscle's repaired and getting larger and stronger.
Can you touch upon really quickly, because I know a lot of my viewers are women, and they're really afraid that they're going to bulk and get too bulky and big. So really quickly, can you talk about how hard it really is to bulk? I've been trying to grow my shoulders for 2 years now, and it's essentially very, very hard. So can you just tell the women that are listening that they won't get too bulky and big?
I've trained, I've helped five guys so far that I know of that I've actually helped in some way, shape, or form with their diet, with training philosophies. I've helped 5 guys lose over 100 pounds and a couple of guys over 150 with my philosophies of not overtraining, just optimum training, which is a big difference. And in doing so, we've also worked at my facility, and I have worked with a couple women, and what we found is there is this common misconception: you put on too much muscle. Doesn't happen. Look around your average fitness gym. Take up like a Planet Fitness or even like Gold's now, where they're going more fitness oriented. How many men and women do you see that are really in shape and muscular? There's not very many. It doesn't happen by accident. You're not going to wake up and be like, ah, crap, I'm too muscular. If that was the case, great. That's actually a better position to be in, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn. But it's not going to happen by accident. But if you are predisposed to putting on muscle, there's a few athletes I've worked with like that. For instance, Christina Lefex, took, I think, 5th place in World's Strongest Woman. Mm-hmm. I worked with her after she suffered a knee injury and then helped her become one of the strongest women in the world. I mean, she put in the work. I just put in some of my philosophies with training. But it didn't happen by accident. She was trying to put on muscle, but she's predisposed. I'm not sure if she should know it by now, but she's predisposed to put on muscle. She's the exception, not the rule. So it doesn't happen by accident. But if you genetically are predisposed to put on muscle, why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Some women, for instance, you take someone like Tabby, tabbyfit.com, one of my wife's very good friends, she's got long, lean muscle. No matter what she does, she's not going to be able to put on a huge amount of muscle, but she's got this long, lean figure, and she trains, to accommodate her body style. Someone like Christina, she holds a lot of muscle mass, so she doesn't have that long, lean figure. That's her genetic. That's just her genetics. You can't change that. So let's train for it. But everyone can benefit from trying to put on muscle. If it's a long, lean type of frame, muscle is going to help really make the muscles already, I won't say smaller, but longer. So by adding muscle mass to them, they look better. We have a gentleman here that's 150 pounds that I'm helping out right now, and he's so lean that you put on a pound or two and he looks amazing. You're like, it looks like you put on 10 pounds. They have other guys that have a bigger, sort of bulkier frame. I'll train them for a year and they'll put on almost no actual physical weight, but they're already bulky to start with. They're just converting from higher fat content to higher muscular content. But it doesn't happen by accident. You're not going to look in the mirror one day and be too muscular. I wish that was the case.
And really quickly, in about a minute or less, can you just touch upon why it's important to not do 45 minutes, an hour of cardio when you're trying to build muscle and repair a damaged metabolism? People do, 45 minutes to an hour of cardio for other reasons, and it works for other reasons. But when you're trying to repair your metabolism and build new lean muscle, you don't want to do too much cardio.
Any client that I've worked with, especially people that are new to strength training or trying to reintroduce strength training into their regimen, if it's anywhere from athletes, legitimate endurance athletes, to a stay-at-home mom that never worked out, the idea of doing 40 minutes of cardio is a hard sell in the first place. Second off, there's really no need. The idea of what we want to do is we want to make the body a machine. We want to make it so it's actually inefficient. And what happens with cardio, legitimate cardiovascular work, is the body becomes too efficient. So you do 45 minutes of cardio today, and after never doing it, I'd hop on a treadmill or something and do 45 minutes of cardio. Let's say I burn 600 calories. Well, next week it's going to be 550, and the week after that, that's going to be 525. And what ends up happening is, and that's how your metabolism gets damaged, is your body becomes so efficient and wants to burn so few calories that you start doing this 45 minutes of cardio, you're burning 100 or 200 calories. And that's not the ideal. And that's a big guy like myself, using that as an example. So by doing cardio every day, your body's going to get attuned to it, and it's going to become more efficient. We don't want that. We want the body to become inefficient. We want it to burn a lot of calories. And we do that by trying to maintain muscle mass, not doing straight up cardio, but having people do wind sprints, for instance, change their body up. We want to work on muscle hypertrophy. So the idea of breaking down muscle tissue, not to a point where it's got to come so far back to heal, but we want to train optimally. The body's adaptation to stimulus, the stimulus being weightlifting, is for the muscle to become stronger. Well, think of it as a breaking bone. When a bone breaks, what happens? It grows back stronger. It's very difficult for it to break there again. We want the muscle tissue to grow back stronger. But if you keep damaging that bone, or you damage it too much, instead of taking 2 or 3 months to heal, it'll take a year to heal. Depending on how bad the break is or how much of the bone got damaged in the process. If it got broken end crushed, for instance, it's going to take longer to heal. So think about that. We don't want to get to the point where we actually damage the muscle so bad that it's got to come so far back. So if you're sore for 2, 3, 4 days, that's negative. But when you first get into this, one thing you'll notice is you are sore the next day, but it shouldn't just be, if we're benching, it shouldn't just be your chest. It should be your chest, your triceps, your biceps, your back. The methods, my philosophy also follows training methods, though. So you're not benching with your shoulders out, you're benching with your shoulders tucked. We do a lot of deadlifting, a lot of squat, because it has such an impact on the entire body. Someone asks me, hey, what's the best way for me to put an inch on my arms? I'll say deadlift. What's the best way for me to squat more? I'll say deadlift. What's the best way for me to lose fat? I'll say deadlift. Why? And I'm just using that for example because it also can be squat. But those movements are full body movements. You don't want to be that guy on the beach who just has big arms. You want to be well-rounded. You want to be an athlete. And that's my philosophy. So hopefully I didn't bore you too much, or I didn't sort of go off on too much of a tangent, but it's something that I've been trying to help my wife with for a while, and she's coming around to my philosophy of training, which is a little different than most people's in the fitness community.
All right, thank you so much. And I just want to say that, if you can hold that. Again, thank you for your support. I'm getting back to emails. Email me with any questions that you have at kristenpoundstone@gmail.com. And thank you again for your support. And with the help of my husband and my coach, PJ Braun, I'm definitely getting myself back on track and fixing my metabolism and hoping to make a new body and get lean and strong and healthy. All right, thank you so much.